Hello, teachers, parents, and educational leaders, and welcome to this episode of Breaking Down the B.E.S.T. Now, during this episode, you will get a peek into the members-only area where I have tons of resources to help you make math fun, make it click, and make it stick. There should be a link somewhere around this video where you can learn more. All right, now that we got that out of the way, let's get to it, and let's break down the standard. Welcome to Breaking Down the B.E.S.T, a video series dedicated to breaking down Florida's best standards for math. So grab something to write with and maybe even a snack. This looks good. And don't forget to put a smile on your face. There you go. I see you. And let's dive into today's best standard. Hey everyone. My name is Sarah McCarthy and I am so excited that you are joining me as we break down the following standard. Today's standard is MA.5.FR.2.2 and this standard says to extend the previous understanding of multiplication to multiply a fraction by a fraction, including mixed numbers and of course fractions that are greater than 1 with procedural reliability. So when we think about it in stages of learning, first we have that exploration level and we're right here at procedural reliability, experimenting with different strategies to determine which one makes the most sense for students to use moving forward, okay? By the way, this document that I've marked up all over is not something that I created. This is something that the Florida Department of Education releases to us, to the public, for us to be able to go through and dissect and analyze and break down the standard. So in these episodes, we are going to take about half of the video to break down the standard and understand the expectations of the standard. And then for the second half of the video, we're going to pop over to McCarthyMathAcademy.com where I will show you all the resources that you have available to you with your Taking on the B.E.S.T membership, okay? All right, the clarifications for the standard say that instructions should include the use of manipulatives, drawings, and properties of operations, and denominators are limited to whole numbers up to 20. Some related benchmarks with this one are 5.NSO.2.1, which is our multiplying whole numbers with up to 3-digit factors. We also have 2.4, which is exploring multiplication and division with decimals. 5.AR.1.2 is adding, subtracting, and multiplying fractions with real-world problems. That definitely applies with this one. And 5.GR.2.1, perimeter and area of rectangles with fractional or decimal side lengths. Because we're finding the area, we would need to multiply. So if we're multiplying fractional side lengths, this one totally relates to it. Where are they coming from in 4th grade? Well, we have 4.FR.2.4, which is multiplying whole numbers by fractions. So we're going from last year multiplying whole numbers by fractions to this year multiplying fractions times fractions and a mixed numbers times fractions, fractions greater than 1 times fractions greater than 1, all of the above. And then next year we will step that up to multiplication and division of fractions, and I believe it is at that 3rd level, at the procedural fluency stage. Here it says, for purpose and instructional strategies, the whole purpose of this benchmark is for students to learn strategies to multiply 2 fractions. Oh, and it does say right here, procedural fluency will be achieved in grade 6. So we're all about the strategies right now, and our goal is for 6th grade for them to have that procedural fluency. Students are expected to multiply fractions, including proper fractions, which would be with a fraction less than 1, improper fractions, which are fractions that are greater than 1, and mixed numbers efficiently and accurately. This says that visual models should be used, and here we have 2 mixed numbers, 1.5 times 1 1/3, and they're using a familiar area model, even though you might not have seen it with fractions. I know for me, the first time I saw this, I was like, wait, what? And then I took it apart and I was like, this actually makes a lot of sense. I like it. I'm digging it. And in fact, in video lesson number 2 for the bronze level, we'll go over problems just like that right there. It says instruction includes using equivalent fractions to simplify answers. However, putting answers in simplest form is not the priority of this standard. So even though simplifying answers might not be the priority, we should still take the opportunity when we can. Here for common misconceptions or errors, it says that students might believe that multiplication always results in a larger number. And this is true, and in 5th grade we really try to target that predicting the relative size of fractions, which is coming up. I believe it's the next standard where we're predicting the relative size, because when you're multiplying by a fraction less than 1, it will result in a smaller number. Here I said yes to this because it says students can have difficulty with word problems when determining which operation to use. And the stress of working with fractions makes this happen even more. So go ahead and take a look at this example right here. And I said this is confusing, so make sure that you provide plenty of practice. This says that Mark has 3/4 yards of rope, and he gives a third of the rope to a friend. So if he has 3/4 of a yard and he takes a third of it, first we have to multiply those fractions to figure out what a third of that would be. And then the question says, how much rope does he have left? So not only do we have to multiply those two fractions, but then we have to subtract what we're removing. It says on the other hand, if Mark has 3/4 of rope and he gives 1/3 yard of rope to a friend, so in this case he has 3/4 yards of rope and he gives 1/3 yard, we're just subtracting that 1/3. So it's important to see which one, when you might be subtracting versus when you might be multiplying. Here are some tasks to see this in action. We have the real word problems right here, and then we also just have the mathematical problems right here where we're doing that. All right, so that's what it looks like. Let's go ahead and take a look at what you have access to and you're taking on the B.E.S.T membership. All right, so here we are at McCarthyMathAcademy.com. We're going to click Members Enter here and scroll to Taking on the B.E.S.T. Let's go to 5th grade. We're in the FR strand. We're right here, 5.FR.2.2, multiplying fractions. And right away you will open up to the bronze resources. So here we have video lessons and printable student guides, notes that go along with the lessons. Okay, you can see we have 1, 2, 3 video lessons. So here we have multiplying fractions less than 1. Second video is multiplying fractions greater than 1. And the third video lesson is multiplying fractions with an extra step. We're going to take a closer peek at the student guide portion in just a second so you can see. But I just want to point out, looking at the from both to fractions greater than 1, just for it to make sense. Okay, so here you can see how we're taking it apart. We're making sense of it with a drawing. We're seeing that this is the multi-step problem. So we're doing step 1 over here and then showing step 2 over here, and so on. So there's a lot happening in these video lessons, and students can record their notes. And the whole point of these videos is to make it fun and to make it click, to make it make sense. It's not for students to master it after one video lesson. The mastery takes place when they've practiced with it, which is why we have the silver plan. Click on that. We've got printables right here. The printables contain the video lesson followed by extra practice, then the next video lesson followed by extra practice, and a few more resources at the end. Here we have the notes for that first video lesson, multiplying fractions less than 1, and the directions say to find the product of each expression, include a visual model and standard algorithm. Simplify the fractions for extra practice. So while simplifying is not the expectation of the standard, I'm saying that right there, we're just going to go ahead and explore with it right now. I'm letting you know right now, I know what the standard says, but I also know the importance of simplifying when it makes sense to simplify, to increase number sense, because fractions are numbers. Okay, so you can see our fractions here are less than 1, and then after that is the extra practice page. So once students have their notes, they can then use them to help them solve the extra practice on their own. Then we've got the next video lesson. And here we've got the mixed numbers times mixed numbers, and that's where we'll break out the area model. That is the visual model for this. And then the extra practice page number 2. Then we've got another video lesson. This is multiplying fractions with that extra step. So you can see Joey has 3/8 yards of string. He uses a third of the string for a project. How much string does he have left? So showing the 2 steps that happen there. And same kind of thing here. And then we've got an extra practice right there. Following the video lessons and extra practice is the math mission. It's a math task with multiple parts. So this says Adnan swims 1 4/5 miles each week. His brother Yusuf swims 2 1/3 times the distance Adnan swims. So how far does Yusuf swim? How much farther does Adnan need to swim to achieve the same distance as Yusuf? And to figure out how far Yusuf swam, Adnan uses the area model. Help Adnan complete the area model to show how to solve. So this is where they're thrown into that situation of using a strategy. So really taking the learning up a little bit. And then here is the math misconception mystery episode. You can tell that it is a video lesson because there's a video icon right there. All you have to do is click play and I will guide your students through the entire process. First, I'll tell them that they can go ahead and solve this problem, and then they will watch as 4 characters solve that same problem, 3 of them making a mistake, and only 1 of them has the correct answer. Those characters are just me dressed up in silly costumes with silly accents, having fun with this, and it really is a good time. Once you start playing these math misconception mystery episodes, your students are going to beg you for them. They really, really enjoy them. And after they finish watching, they can fill out their detective report. They might need to use the video though to help them. And also these math misconception mystery episodes, I would use these after students have had some exposure and some practice with it. That way they can really have some wonderful conversations and discourse and friendly debates and all that stuff. The answer keys for everything that we just saw is right there. And then if you have the goal plan, you have access to everything we've gone over, including some extras. You have a mini assessment for this standard and for all the standards. Okay, you can see the standard right up there. It says show what you know, so you can use this as a mini assessment or extra practice. There's a variety of question types just for you, all right? Answer key for that is right here. You also have these breaking down the best episodes right here with all of your resources for every standard. These breaking down the best videos are also available on YouTube. They just have ads, so it's a nice little perk of being a gold member with it being right there ad-free. Of course, the main highlight of the gold plan is access to McCarthy Math 155. This is a daily math video lesson intervention that's aligned to the Common Core standards. Now, I know it says Common Core, and the whole reason why I created Taking on the Best was because there were enough changes between the Common Core standards and the BEST standards, which is why I had to create something new. However, if you have been exploring at all with the BEST standards, you know just as well as I do that there are so many skills that do trickle over from Common Core into the BEST standards. So if you have students who are struggling, this is the way to go because you can really set them up with skill practice to make this fun and make it click. The 155 stands for 155 video lessons for each grade. So let's click on 5th grade. Here are the different units. All right, and right below is the number of video lessons for each unit. So we want operation with fractions, which has 30 video lessons. And inside of this unit, they're adding and subtracting with fractions, multiplying and dividing with fractions, and close reading word problems. So if you have students who need help converting fractions greater than 1 into mixed numbers, there's a video for that. And a video for converting mixed numbers into fractions greater than 1 with a lot more practice. I'm going to scroll through this. These are adding fractions, which are definitely part of 5th grade, but I'm going to go to where it's multiplying so you can see that you do have extra practice. All right, here we go. Multiply fractions, model with a drawing. Multiplying fractions, this is going to be more of using standard algorithm. Multiplying mixed numbers. This was before I actually learned about that area model that you'll see in Taking on the Best, so just know that. But there's a couple, there's a different strategy mentioned in this one. Finding area with fractions, lots and lots of practice there. Okay, all right, so we have broken down the standard. We have seen what you have access to with your membership. I hope that this all makes sense for you and that you feel confident and ready to rock and roll. Before we go, let me remind you that what you choose to wake up and do every day with your life, it really does matter. Thank you so much for stepping into the best version of yourself every day to inspire your students to do the same. And of course, thank you so much for inviting me into your educational space. I truly love supporting you. I love being a part of your students' educational journey. So thank you for that. And hopefully this all puts more time back into your pocket, which, speaking of time, I know that you're busy, so let's go ahead and close out this video, and I will see you in a Breaking Down the B.E.S.T episode real soon, okay? Bye! Okay, so I know that I just said goodbye for now, but I'm gonna ask you to do one more thing, okay? If you enjoyed this episode, please consider sharing it with your teacher friends or other leaders in education. That's how I get to continue doing what I love to do, which of course is supporting you all to the best of my ability. All right, for real now. Bye!